Hi, everyone. How are you guys doing today? It is Monday, April 27th, 2020, and we are in your 8 billion or day 8,435,000 of the quarantine right now. Or at least that's what it feels like to me. But I hope you're all doing well, especially in the midst of what's going on right now with stay-at-home orders getting extended, all of these sort of things. Please let me know if you can hear me clearly. I have tried to eliminate as many noise issues as I possibly can, so I should be coming in clear. Hopefully I am. So today I actually wanted to get something off my chest. And I really just wanted to I don't know if I'm gonna, if I was actually joking to one of my friends a little bit ago that I might be committing career suicide, but I don't know. We're gonna see. I just really need to get this off my chest because I think we're going to be talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I think the way it is being misused and the way it is being grossly misunderstood and misused right now is turning into a real problem. And what I mean by that is really in response to, there are posts out there about how you need to be so productive and write a book and become the next Oprah and build an empire and, take over a kingdom and whatever else in 48 hours. Great. Those are not realistic. And then on the flip side of it, there are also people going to the other extreme talking about there were several posts I saw about how we were not in this, we are right now with COVID going on, we're not in the self-actualization space, that we really are stuck in the first two stages of Maslow's hierarchy, which are physiological needs and safety needs, and that it's okay that we're there. And yes, it is. But here's the thing. Maslow's hierarchy of needs has been misunderstood or misinterpreted for the modern world. And that's what we're not realizing right now, is that there is misinterpretation happening. So while, yes, you are taking care of your physiological needs and your safety needs, are you letting these hold you back right now from pursuing your own mental well-being, from pursuing your own sense of stability and balance right now? That is a real question I'm asking, because that doesn't boil down to Maslow's hierarchy. That boils down to you. So let me give you a quick recap of Maslow's hierarchy for those who may not be familiar with it, or they don't have it right off the top of their heads. This is the work that I do every single day, so it's always in my head. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is shown as a pyramid. On the base of the pyramid, the very first level is considered to be physiological needs. The needs that need to be met are like your food, water, shelter, those kinds of very basic physiological needs that you need for survival. Above that are your safety and security needs. These are the needs, shelter falls a little bit into both. We already have a problem there because shelter is across two needs. Sex, the act of sexual activity, intercourse, all of those fall in under physiological needs because our human species has been designed for survival and reproduction. So sexual activity does fall under the very basic physiological need. Above that is safety, shelter. Above that is belongingness and love, which we're all taking a huge hit of right now through COVID because of the social isolation. So already, again, there we are seeming to kind of miss that need. Above that, step 4 is what Maslow calls self-esteem needs, things that make us feel good about ourselves. And after that is supposed to be the self-actualization need, where you sort of become the best version of yourself for the benefit of others. Okay, so there are so many things to unpack in here. Let's start off with the very first thing. Maslow wrote this paper in 1943 when the world when at least, when the diversity and inclusion of the world, when the way we saw the world, when what we knew about the entire world was very different. Maslow also wrote out his theory in a paper called A Theory of Human Motivation. So it's not, motivation and needs we know more about them now. These are the things that may motivate you. Let's stop using them to stop ourselves, though. And what I mean by that is it actually ties into my next point. A lot of people think Maslow's hierarchy is this step-by-step process that until you meet all your physiological needs, you're not going to be able to get to the next step, which is your safety needs. And until you meet those, you're not going to be able to get to step 3, which are your belongingness needs. Until you meet those, you're not going to be able to get to self-esteem. And until you meet those, you're not going to be able to get to self-actualization. I'll talk more about self-actualization in just a little bit because I have so much to say about that too. But here's the thing, they are not steps. These needs happen concurrently in your lives, depending on the stage of your life you're in and depending on what's going on within you and outside of you. And by taking these steps as I have to get through step 1 to get to step 2 to get to step 3, you are actually shooting yourself in the foot because that is not how life works. Life does not happen in a vacuum. And on top of that, while yes, some of our livelihoods are being threatened right now because of furloughs and unemployment and all of that. They're being threatened. For the majority of us, for many of us, if not the majority of us, our needs are actually getting met. Our physiological needs are getting met. You are watching these from smartphones or your laptops. You are not a hunter-gatherer 10,000 years ago, literally trying to survive. And neither are you a homeless person who is literally trying to get food out of a dumpster somewhere. If you are watching this and that's who you are, what I'm about to tell you does not apply to you. I'm talking to every single person out there right now who does have a home, who does have food, who does have shelter, and yes, who is worried about what this COVID-19 process is going to mean for our health, our economies, our jobs, our businesses, and all of that. But worries are completely different than having your needs not met. And being worried about something, being worried about you paying your bills does not mean that you cannot be worried about your mental balance. The two are not mutually exclusive. They can go hand in hand. In fact, here's a fun fact. The most amount of stress that is caused in our lives that makes us feel like garbage, that makes us feel inadequate, that makes us feel like we're not doing enough are financial stresses that go beyond our safety and physiological needs. These are financial stresses about how we're not making enough. If you follow Maslow's hierarchy, you don't even qualify because you're making enough to, have a roof over your head and to have food on your table. So which one is it? Right? That's one thing. They don't happen in these stages or steps. These hierarchy of needs happen concurrently. So it is entirely possible for you to be worried about the food that you're putting on your table while also being worried about how you are going to balance your life. The reason we have these worries right now is because our life has been out of balance. There is no going back to normal because things were never normal. And there is, it doesn't make sense in this case to follow a theory that was made in 1943. We know a lot more about human beings and our brains and our minds and what we need to thrive since 1943. Don't forget, this was also before the age when, Valium stopped being given to pregnant women for anxiety because it caused all sorts of birth defects. This Maslow came out with that before Valium's stuff was even discovered. That's how old this is. We're talking World War II. We're talking, this is when women were first even getting into the modern workforce. That's how old this theory is. That's the world this theory was created in and created for. If we don't evolve this theory, that's how, we are going to get ourselves stuck, and we are not going to do the things that we need to do for us to be mentally well. So if you're not using this as an excuse, if you're not using Maslow's hierarchy as an excuse, then great. But how many of you are using it to say, I can't focus on my well-being. I can't redefine my life the way I need it. I can't think about all of the things that I do have in my control because I'm stuck in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You are who I'm talking to. There is no being stuck there because it's all concurrent. The second point I want to make about that is Maslow's hierarchy of needs is actually very ethnocentric, if you think about it. It's very gender-centric, if you think about it. And it's very generational-centric, if you think about it. And also, Maslow's idea of self-actualization he did not actually fully explain it. People just started assuming that it means for the benefit of others, that we somehow have to become these things that are the best versions of ourselves. Self-actualization only literally means that stage where you realize all of these other needs are interconnected and they all have to be balanced and taken care of at the same time for you to thrive in all aspects of your lives. It doesn't mean you have to check off boxes. That's the problem. Checking off boxes is how we are, you guys. Checking off boxes is why we have inclusion problems. Checking off boxes is why we have, xenophobia, racism, and discrimination. And, people saying, oh, well, racism doesn't exist anymore. Discrimination doesn't exist anymore because we're checking off boxes. We know the truth about it. This theory came out of that time, of those same times of outdated leadership models, which believed in authoritarian, fear-based leaderships. We know those models don't work these days. Why are we using this model? And I'm not saying stop using it, but what I am saying is why not evolve it to what, in a way that makes sense to you? Follow your own script. Nobody's telling you to sit here and follow somebody else's script. I'm definitely not doing that. Heck, I have a whole program called Create Your Own Script for Thriving. So I'm the last person to sit here and tell you that this is how you have to do it. What I will say is I can help you create your own script. Your script is going to make the most sense to you out of any other script you see out there because you've created it for you. So make Maslow's hierarchy of needs yours too by figuring out which parts of your life are interconnected and balance your life. Yes. Hi, Ruthie. And Maslow's theory is, Ruthie, I'm so sorry. I'm just seeing all of your comments. I hope the recap helped, by the way. But yes, Maslow's theory is traditionally, explained as a pyramid and that you have to get through the one to get to the other. That's really not the reality. It's like a waveform. Imagine multiple waves happening at once. They just happen at different frequencies and different highs and lows. That's the reality of Maslow's hierarchy, because again, it's about your motivation. You're going to be motivated to focus on different things at different times. That doesn't mean you should hold yourself back saying it's the wrong time. right? When you, oh, there is a great graphic. I can send that to you. There is a great graphic for this interpretation. I was trying to put it up on this live stream. It's not letting me, but I can definitely put it out there after in the comments. And I think it makes a lot more sense, the waveform one. But my whole point is that these 5 stages, you can make them your own. And on top of that, you have to understand that all of your needs, or many of them, are going to happen concurrently. They're going to happen simultaneously. Just because you are worried about your physiological needs right now or your safety needs right now, it absolutely does not mean you cannot also focus on yourself. The reason our cortexes are, like the executive functioning part of our human brains grew as much as they did and grew all the folds and became as intricate as we know the human brain is now is because we have the capacity for the intellect necessary to manage multiple needs at once. So how are you getting in your own way by limiting yourself? And using Maslow's hierarchy of needs as an example. Here's another fun fact, by the way. Maslow's hierarchy of needs has actually been expanded from 5 stages to having 8 stages. Did that blow anybody's mind? It should, because those of us who work in the field and use Maslow's hierarchy of needs for what it was intended to be, we've always known this. We've studied this. You have your physiological needs, safety needs, belongingness needs, and self-esteem needs. Oh, let me throw in a couple curveballs. You also have cognitive needs, your quest, your thirst for knowledge, for learning new things that help you intellectually grow. And you have aesthetic needs. As human beings, we appreciate beauty and art. Where do you think makeup came from? Where do you think makeup came from? Where do you think fashion came from? If not from a motivation to please ourselves aesthetically. Then you have self-actualization. Again, self-actualization actually means that when you realize that all of these motivations can happen concurrently, you can take control of all of the different things in your life you do have agency over, and you can get creative with how you fulfill those needs using your motivations. And I'm going to make that very crystal clear right now. What I mean by that as an example is, let's say you are somebody who is living paycheck to paycheck right now. You don't have a savings, and maybe your 401k tanked in all of this COVID mess. Now, how much about you sitting there and saying my financial needs are not getting met is actually going to help you? Is that going to improve your life just by you sitting there and saying, I can't do anything because this is all I'm worried about? Or does it make more sense to say, okay, this part of my life is not going so well, but I have the capacity to look at other parts of my life that are going well? Does it make more sense to lean into the worry, or does it make more sense to lean into the parts of your life that you do have agency over, where you can find happiness, because happiness is a choice in some parts of our lives, maybe not in the financial parts. I would argue that it is even there, but at least in some parts of our lives, going on a walk, taking a deep breath, meditation, all of these, right? Those are not self-actualization needs. Those are also basic human needs, because in those moments, what you're doing is taking care of your inner world, taking care of what makes you you. And when you thrive in what makes you you, you actually come up with creative solutions to improve your financial situation, to improve your physiological situation, to improve your safety and security situation, to improve your self-esteem, All of the above. They're all interconnected, just like all the parts of our lives are interconnected. And that was the biggest, thing we realized through COVID. I mean, I've been saying it for a while, but this is the biggest thing we've all realized through COVID is just how all of our different parts of our lives are actually interconnected. We lost out our transition times on our drives to work and home. We lost out on, we leave our work computer. Our home life is 6 feet away. That's how interconnected we actually are. We're not replaceable cogs in a wheel. Every single one of us brings in unique contributions to all of our spaces. And the only commonality in all of your spaces is who you are and who you want to be in those situations. Those are things in your control. So how are you letting Maslow's hierarchy of needs and this, and on the flip end, the other extreme, write a book in 48 hours and become the next Oprah in 48 hours? Why are you going to both those extremes? The reality is somewhere in between. Focusing on who you can be in terms of your happiness. I'm not talking about Oprah again. In terms of your happiness, focusing on the little things that you can do is how you're also going to improve your personal growth and your professional development. And when you do your professional development, guess what? You have a chance to get paid more, to take care of your financial needs, to actually start that savings account or to build up on it. And to realize that all of these things are actually in your control. They don't follow some pyramid that is putting you in a box. The whole pyramid thing, oh my gosh, it is maddening at this point. If I see one more little meme that says, we don't have to self-actualize, we're all stuck in, physiology and safety mode, I might just scream, because that's blatantly not the truth. Yes, our finances are threatened right now. Yes, our economy is threatened right now. It's not fully out of our control. And these extremes make it seem like that. So I'm here to tell you, you still have control over your lives and you still can focus on that and do something about balancing all of these interconnected needs you have. You're not stuck. You don't have to use Maslow's hierarchy about you don't have to use that as a way to hold you back, because the thing is, it's not, again, and I have to repeat myself here, but that's okay. I am going to repeat myself because this point is that important. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is not a step-by-step process. All of them are happening at the same time in your life right now. Every single body who is watching this live or who is going to be watching this later, let me tell you something. The reason you clicked on this video and you're watching it is because of that self-actualization need. It's because of that cognitive need to learn something more, to get more knowledge. Both of those are happening at the same exact time. They're not steps. While you're doing that, you're also in your home, on your smartphone, using tech, wherever you're watching this from. They didn't have the internet in 1943. I don't know if you guys knew this. I know, mind-blowing, right? Just totally mind-blowing. Internet wasn't what it is now. Life wasn't what it is now. And Maslow's hierarchy was made in 1943. How does something from 1943 apply to your life? The reality of your interconnected, imbalanced life right now. And what can you do to put that life back in balance? Thank you for laughing, whoever laughed. I just had to say that, I just didn't know if I was like blowing people's minds by saying the internet didn't exist back then. Newsflash. But what can you do to balance your life? You have a lot more control over your growth and development and your finances and your happiness and joy and your idea of success than you think you do. You don't have to follow outdated scripts. Heck, this is whole 1943 to 2020. Talk about an outdated script. How can you evolve this script to make it fit for you? That's exactly why I created the Create Your Own Script for Thriving program. It is literally to bring up all of these theories that we've been taught and conditioned to follow and really in so many ways been brainwashed. I mean, I can't think of a single space in society right now where Maslow's hierarchy of needs isn't brought up, ever. Development, corporations, DEI, like diversity, equity, inclusion, leadership development, personal development, mindset, like probably even like, different parts of engineering, depending on like, what aspect of engineering you're looking at. I'm sure there's a way to bring in Maslow's hierarchy of needs because it's been so universally shared. The thing is, it's being shared out of context. If you want to really learn about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, there are so many resources out there that will help you update this theory to modern day. On top of that, our workforce is changing. For instance, we know, and our workforce has been changing since women have, become a part of the workforce. We know that women's leadership is different than the traditional masculine leadership. And we know that women actually perform better as leaders than men do. There are reports on this, scientific reports. I'm not making this up. You can Google it because we have this thing called the Google and the internet. That is the truth. Women's needs go slightly different than what Maslow's hierarchy of needs talk about. Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, their needs go slightly different than what Maslow's needs talk about, because especially for millennials and Gen Zers, the importance of thriving, the importance of purpose-driven work, the importance of mental well-being, and the importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion are high enough that they would actually not take a job if all of these factors don't meet. Maslow's hierarchy of needs does not address that. As people, we have evolved a lot. As a species, we have evolved a lot since 1943. And so my final message, take-home message, TLDR, all of that, stop following outdated scripts. And if you need clarity, my website, here it is. Let me put it up. There is a place for you to schedule a clarity call right on my website, www.ajrao.com, which, oh, by the way, it's been redesigned and I'm so proud of it and I'm so happy with it. I've been working so hard on it and it's finally redesigned. So check it out. Give me your feedback. Schedule your clarity call. I will help you break free of the conditioning. I will help you create your own script because that's what we need to move forward to a stronger, more stable, more equitable, and more profitable for all of us type of society. We are not interchangeable. We are not replaceable. We are not cogs in this big business machine. We all bring in very unique contributions, and the majority of us are undervalued and underpaid for it. Oh, thank you so much for Tassi. Thank you for coming in. And yes, Sarah, I did say TLDR. I have to, because that's the lingo these days. So I got to use it. Plus, I just love saying it. I started using it in regular conversations these days. So, but we won't go into that. Schedule your clarity call. Get on the phone with me. I'll help you with this. There is no reason you have to feel bad about the state of your life because you feel like it is out of your control. You don't have to be this loose leaf in the wind, just going where the wind blows you. You have more agency than that. even if you don't realize it, and you leaning into that agency and you taking back control of your mental well-being and you realizing all of these different needs in your life are interconnected and that you can balance them, that's how you're going to thrive. That's how you're going to get forward in any aspect of your life, including your professional development, including your confidence, including your self-esteem, including your thirst for knowledge and learning, and including you becoming the version of yourself that you want to be. I'm not going to say best version, becoming the version of yourself that you want to be. All of this lies in your hands, not on some pyramid scheme. That's what this is, a pyramid scheme. So we all know how we feel about pyramid schemes. Don't buy into this one. You can do better than that. If you have any questions, I'll be here. I'll respond to them in comments. I hope you enjoyed this. If you like this video, please feel free to share it, show some love. I made myself this promise on the last one that I was going to stick true to me, and that is exactly what I'm trying to do. I hope that resonates with you. Again, last little point, I'm not trying to judge anybody when I say this. What I am trying to do is very gently challenge you to think outside the box and to stop using the scripts that don't serve you well, and to start taking control of all of the aspects of your life that you actually can take control of to become exactly who you want to be. All right. On that note, I will be back on Thursday, and I will stick around outside of video to answer your questions if you have any. So please drop them in the comments box. Other than that, I'll see you on Thursday with another live stream. I don't know what the topic is yet, but I'll come up with something. Bye.